Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm Bengt and I'll do this in English, preferably because people know English much better than they know Swedish. And I'm a little bit frustrated over non-English interesting movies or clips out on the internet. So what we are going to do today is to make a kind of a service-like thing on my Passat B6 2006 2.0 FSI car. I got inspiration from Todd at Project Farm, and I'm going to do the same thing that he did with his old car that he treated with Seafoam and Lucas heavy duty oil. I'm gonna do the same thing, and I got inspiration of Todd, and he gives inspiration for many videos that he kind of produces. And it's really fun to and interesting to see what he's doing. So I'm going to do the same thing that he did. I'm going to do the whole film in English. I hope you appreciate that. Of course, my English isn't that good, so don't care about that. Anyway, I purchased Seafoam and Lucas heavy duty oil treatment. The Seafoam is not really easy to get a hold of here in Sweden. I had to buy it from eBay. I first took a try to reach the producers in the US and see if they could, send some kind of promotion, but they didn't even answer. So I purchased this stuff on eBay, and they took a couple of days, and then I had it. It was quite cheap as well. And these products, I don't know very much about them. I've seen Todd, I've seen the thing that he did in his movie, and that seemed to work pretty good for him. So I wanted to use the same products that he did. I'm not living in that illusion that this would kind of take away all the carbonized stuff in the engine, but it's definitely going to do it better. And that's what I need. I need that little extra to get down from the fuel consumption that I have now. Normally 2.0 FSI should run on about, it should come like 0.7 liters per 10 kilometers. If you can, you have to recalculate that probably if you have other measurements. But this one is taking like 1.3 liters per 10 kilometers, and that's really much. I would, try to make this half. And I think there are other issues with the engine. I think it doesn't really always get really up to temperature that it should, and there might be some issues with the EGR stuff and so on. But I don't get any messages on the dashboard that something is wrong. So I'll start with this and see what it does. So the first thing I'm going to do is to treat my engine with Seafoam, the liquid stuff that you pour into the tank. I'm going to pour the whole bottle in the tank. Then I'm going to put half of this bottle in the oil, and treat the engine inside. There is also this spray that you spray when you're running the engine. You spray it into the manifold. And let the car run on idle, a little bit above idle. I guess this is the same product, but this is a spray and things. I'm then gonna replace the oil. I'm gonna replace the oil filter. I've purchased almost the same oil that Todd had in his movie. I'm gonna pour 4 liters in there and 1 liter of the Lucas heavy duty treatment. So we're gonna check the oil, how it looks now. Then we're gonna run the car, and when I've put in this and then done all the cleaning, we're gonna check the oil again and see how it looks. And then we're gonna change the oil and so on. I'm also going to replace the air filter, because that was probably a long time since that was replaced. Right, let's go over to the car. So this is the car, the engine, and I told you I had a lot of this stuff in here in the air filter chamber. So someone has been living there for a while. I should say that I also let this car stand for a pretty good time since I didn't use it. So it's not until early this spring, late spring, that I started to use it, and there was a lot of issues with it. So it's a 2.0 FSI gasoline engine. It has 19,000 Swedish miles on it. The other older ones that I had 29,000 Swedish miles, and a Swedish mile is 10 kilometers, so you understand that. All right, so we're gonna crank it up and see how it sounds. You can hear the ticking. It doesn't sound like the best engine. It's a little bit, you can hear that the oil is not reaching the lifters and so on. It's a little bit like a diesel. So I'm gonna let the car run for a while until it gets a little bit warm, and then I'm gonna add the Seafoam into the engine, into the tank, and also we're gonna spray it into the manifold here. So I'm gonna pour in the treatment into the tank, the fuel directly, just fill it up. Before we do anything, we're gonna check the oil here, how it kind of looks. See here, there we have the camera. This is how it looks now. It's kind of, I don't know what to say. We're gonna look at it. It doesn't look really bad. I changed it not too long ago, so let's see. I'll start the engine again. We're now gonna have half of the liquid in the engine here, so this should kind of clean up inside. We can still hear the ticking. Nothing has happened to it yet. I'm gonna stand there and idle for a while, and then I'm gonna treat it with a spray as well. I'll turn off the engine and we'll see if I can get off this clamp. So what we're gonna do is put in this thing into the injector here, and see, and this one should not. And then I'm gonna put this back on again, so it's kind of tightening up and not letting out any air leak. These cars, engines, they are really sensitive to that, so I might get a lot of messages in on the dashboard. It's not like Todd's car where he could just pop it off and run it through there. I don't think that would work here. So I'm gonna cut this a little bit, let this go in for a centimeter or so, and then I'm gonna hook it onto here and spray it in and run it on a little bit above idle. So I now attach the hose here and can spray it directly into the fuel injection here, into the manifold. There are other ways to do this as well, as I understand. Since this is a spray, this is the best way to do it. I've seen people kind of taking off some vacuum hoses and let it suck in the liquid itself, and maybe that's a good thing to do as well. But this is the way I do it, to copy Todd a bit from Project Farm. So we're gonna start the car and let it idle. So now the car is running a little bit out of 1500 rounds per minute, and we're gonna start spraying the Seafoam. Do the whole can, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So we're also going to change the air filter. That one is kind of dirty, as I've seen before. I have a new one. As you see, it doesn't really look nice in there now either, huh? I'm gonna change that. It's like a bird's nest in there. So this is how it looked. Well, I live on a farm, so maybe that's how it should look. I don't know. I need to clean this out. It's crap. With a vacuum cleaner, I think. So I'll put in this new beautiful filter, and well, it can only be better. So that's how it is. So here is the oil after about 15 minutes. How it looks about the same. However, the smell is much more, a little bit, should I say, bad quality old oil. But since the Seafoam is kind of a product that contains petroleum, so I guess the smell and so on can come from that. Probably does. So I'm gonna let it soak for a while, a little bit more, and then go out and take a test drive. So I've let the car hot soak for 10 minutes now, and then I should be able to start it, and gonna see the exhaust fumes here. And then I'm gonna drive it for 10 minutes and drive it a little bit hard, under pressure, it says. So I'm in the car and I'm gonna drive it now for 10 minutes, and you can see here that there is an engine light has been turned on, but I will reset that when we're ready with the driving here. So I'm gonna drive this for 10 minutes and see what happens. I have this engine light on, and I think that the engine might have gone into some kind of safe mode. I know that Volkswagen has that kind of, so when that light is on, there might be an issue that it doesn't kind of work as you expected. So I'm gonna run a OBD check on it and reset that sensor that creates this message there. I'm gonna load the engine. Let's set the engine under pressure a little bit. See what happens. Hopefully nothing dangerous will happen to it. So after the test drive, I can see that no fumes are visible, at least, and there has always been fumes coming out here, kind of watery stuff. So it's much cleaner exhaust now. Something has happened to the engine, at least. I'm gonna turn off the engine, and I'm gonna let it cool down a bit, and then I'm gonna change the oil. So I just drained the oil and took out the filter on the car, and well, I don't have this same equipment or ambition to do the same exact test that Todd did on Project Farm, but still you can see that it's a little bit dirty. You can see on the oil here that it's definitely worth changing this oil. The smell is kind of a lot of gasoline, but maybe that is due to the Seafoam. Now it's time to fill it in the oil. I purchased this 530 oil. It's the same brand as Todd had, but it's not. I think it's a little bit better oil than he had. I'm not sure about that. But this is a pretty expensive oil. It should be good for this car there. I'm gonna pour 4 liters in there. Actually, I think that it's not really 5 liters that are going into this car, but 4.5 liters. I'm gonna put 3.5 liters in here. And I'm gonna add the heavy duty oil stabilizer. This one has a real thick viscosity, so I put the bottle in some hot water to make it a little bit better, but we'll see what happens here. It's really like butter here. I'll take some time to pour it in here, I guess. Right, so let's crank it up. I'm listening. I feel that I can still hear some knocking here, but it's much better than it was. Here is some problem. Alright, I've done some treatment of my car, Passat 2.0 FSI 2006 B6 version. It's not the best car ever made, but it surely did great with this treatment. First of all, regular service, just changing the air filter that was clogged, and that was a really good thing to do. We treated the fuel tank with one of these, Seafoam. We poured Seafoam into the engine, into the motor. We put in the motor oil, and also we ran the car with the spray in the manifold there. After that, well, I'll change the oil, and the oil looked like this. Pretty much bad oil, as I would say, but it should be after being cleansed by the Seafoam. Also, we treated it with new oil, the valve line oil, 4 liters of that, and 1 liter of Lucas heavy duty oil treatment stabilizer. And we can definitely hear a smoother sound from the engine. I also ran an OBD diagnose to see the fuel consumption. Of course, I need to run that for a little bit longer in order to see that it holds, but it was below 1 liter per 10 kilometers. So that's what I hoped for, that it would go under 1 liter and run as an old Volvo at least, and not as a big American V8 car for 1.5 liters per 10 kilometers. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. As I said, in Sweden it's a little bit difficult to get a hold of the Seafoam. Can't buy it in the store or in the shop or on Statoil or anything like that. You have to order it from somewhere else. I ordered it on eBay. Same with the Lucas heavy duty. And of course there are other products that probably work all the same. But I wanted to kind of copycat Todd's test that he did, and I really appreciate what Todd does in Project Farm, and I encourage you guys to watch his videos as well. There are a lot of stuff that would probably help you fixing stuff and comparing stuff as well. Thank you very much.